Well guys, Diane Abbott is at it again, along with the low-life Labour-loving lefty lawyers doing their best to prevent this timid government from actually removing people who should not be here. Because we have reports more flights returning failed Labour voters to their senders are being blocked once again, as I covered a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, like before, the numbers the government are trying to remove are little more than a token gesture, especially when you consider the amount that have come in this month alone. But in fairness to Priti Patel and the government, this is them actually taking action, even if it is only a token gesture like I said. We all know they should be doing a lot more. Now obviously, Diane Abbott is gushing with glee about these lawyers challenging the removal flights, as if the carbonated chicken has just been balls deep in her like back in the day. I'm sure reminiscing on a time when her son wasn't a raging meth head, chasing her around with scissors and attacking emergency service staff or swinging his little pork sword at them. You know, a simpler time for Diane when she was Magic Grandpa's spunk trumpet and not in competition with David the Whiteman oppresses me Lammy for the title of the UK's #1 race baiting fuckpig. Well, she tweeted this earlier claiming there is a hostile environment towards immigrants in the UK, which is laughable for various reasons we already know, while promoting the fact lawyers had challenged the government's removal flights costing us untold amounts of money. Now, she was tweeting about the woman that died up in Scotland and how the Home Office wants to deport 40 asylum seekers, which obviously they're not asylum seekers, they're economic migrants who failed in their asylum bid and are now being deported. Well, they should have been deported anyway. We know the Labour-loving lawyers have obviously put a stop to that, which we'll get into in a moment. But you can see here on the screen, this is what she actually tweeted. Days after the death of someone up in Scotland, Home Office wants to deport up to 40 asylum seekers fleeing violent conflict in countries such as Yemen, Iran and Iraq. Priti Patel should cancel charter flights and review these cases. #end the hostile environment, which as you would expect obviously got me tweeting hostile environment. I hardly think 4-star hotels, £40 a week trips to Anfield and shit like that can really be considered a hostile environment. All while vets sleep on the streets. Shit, I would love to know what a welcoming environment is for these people coming over. Because obviously we know there is no hostile environment. 4-star hotels and that, as I said, is certainly not a hostile environment to me. If I moved to another country, there's no way on earth I would actually get anything like that. I'd be lucky to get a 1-star hotel and 40p a week. But the article Diane Abbott is promoting here about the removal flights blockage is from The Guardian, as you would expect, and we will take a quick look at that because the lawyers involved are the septic spots on the arse of humanity, in my opinion, and need to be called out. It headlines, Asylum Seekers in Last Minute UK Legal Bid to Prevent Removal. No, it is not the asylum seekers, and once again, they are not asylum seekers, they are failed economic migrants. The fact that they are being removed doesn't really put that up for debate, and obviously this article was from a couple of days ago, but somehow I managed to miss it. Dozens of boat wankers who arrived in the UK on small boats are due to be put on charter flights over the next 2 days, while lawyers have launched last-minute High Court challenges to prevent their removal, proving the headline is a complete load of bollocks. Lawyers have launched last-minute High Court challenges, not the economic migrants themselves, because obviously they don't have the money to do that. At least 7 have mounted challenges which will be heard on Tuesday evening to prevent them from being forcibly removed from the UK. The boat wankers due to be removed come from a variety of countries, including Sudan, Yemen and Iraq. Some have survived torture and have a diagnosis of post-traumatic stress disorder, while others went on hunger strike after being put in detention. Some are potential victims of trafficking, some have been on around-the-clock suicide watch. So they all seem like perfectly stable people we should be bringing into the country, I'm sure you would agree. But I do have to say, none of that gives them the right to be in the UK. At the end of the day, if they've survived all that, the second they got in Europe they are safe. That ends their ability to go anywhere else, as it should do. Which it would appear is why they're about to get kicked to the curb, of course, if it wasn't for these Labour-loving lefty lawyer tosspots. The Home Office has chartered a flight to France and Germany for Wednesday, and a second flight to Spain has been chartered for Thursday. Another charter flight for small boats arrivals has been planned for the 3rd of September. So they've got them going about every week or so, but like I've said before, these are just token numbers of people. 40 in this one, with 7 of them already being blocked. More could well block it. More Labour lawyers could well come in and block it, especially with people like Diane Abbott promoting it around. The Home Office is removing the asylum seekers under the Dublin procedure under which people can be returned to the first safe EU country they are known to have spent time in. One of the asylum seekers from Yemen who has been given a ticket for one of the charter flights who is on suicide watch said, "When they handed me this ticket, I thought, I'm finished now. There is nothing else I can do to save my life." Yes, there is. You will be put in a nice and safe European country, no different to here, though you probably won't get the ample amount of benefits and 4-star hotels that you get here given to you by our weak government at our expense. Another said that all of those due to be removed immediately would be left at the mercy of gangs and smugglers once again, which is perfectly fine at the end of the day. Once you're in the other European country, it's down to the authorities there to deal with that shit. Go and tell them it's not our problem. Bella Sankey, director of the charity Detention Action, said, "It is our national shame that during a global pandemic, our government has spent precious resources locking up self-harming, torture and trafficking survivors and is now spending thousands more trying to remove them to EU countries. Yes, because it's so terrible they're going to an EU country, they will be persecuted there by the oppressive governments, won't they? This is just fucking insanity. There is no war going on in the EU that they need to be worried about. They're not going to be tortured. They certainly won't be trafficked unless they traffic themselves trying to get back over here, which let me tell you, they actually probably will do. The Dublin return system is inhumane and unnecessary, and we hope that the UK's participation in it is now nearing an end." Georgia Banks, a lawyer at Duncan Lewis, which is challenging some of the removals, said, "The Home Office's approach to removal of individuals under the Dublin Free procedure is relentless." No, it is really not. I would show you relentless if I was in charge of that. I would scrap the Dublin Free and say everyone that floats over here on a small boat is instantly deported back to their country of origin, no fucks given. That is the only way you will actually stop people from trying to do it. At the moment, they're being picked up in the channel, which is spurring more and more of them on to make the journey. Especially when you consider only 40 of them at a time are actually being sent back. That's less than one boat that comes over. These people have suffered through unimaginable journeys to the UK, and many have good reasons to have their claim considered here. No, they clearly don't, because they are being booted out. And their suffering through an unimaginable journey was a choice taken by them. At the end of the day, they must have been fairly well off in their own country to be able to afford to make it this far. As the media keeps telling us, it's like 7 or 10 grand to get over here, so they are not exactly destitute poor people, let's be honest. And it would explain why they all float over here in designer goods and with decent mobile phones. A Home Office spokesman said, "We will always seek to remove migrants who have travelled through a safe country and have no right to remain in the UK. People should claim asylum in the first safe country they enter. Everyone who is removed from the UK is seen by a health professional and is assessed for suitable removal. We take the welfare of detainees incredibly seriously, and where there are any concerns about an individual's potential to self-harm, a tailored support package is put in place which can include 24/7 observation, obviously all at our cost, costing us thousands of pounds every single year for just one of these people." The spokesman added, "This is part of our strategy to stop people attempting dangerous journeys across the channel and send a signal to anyone considering it that we will do anything in our power to return them." There was a return flight last week, and there are more planned for the coming weeks and months. The UK only ever returns those who the Home Office, and where applicable, the courts are satisfied do not need our protection and have no legal basis to remain in the UK, which let me tell you should be 100% of the people who come through this method, in my opinion. Now obviously, like I said, the government are actually removing people, it would seem, though it is just a token gesture, so kinda shit really. But we scream about them giving all the big talk and not actually doing anything about it. At least this is something, even if it is not much. Diane Abbott, as per usual, along with every single Labour MP, appears to be very happy that Labour-loving lawyers are actually trying to stop this from happening, which is a common occurrence at this point, and really goes to show why the Labour Party are not in power and are never likely to get back there again, even with the incompetent, useless, treacherous Tories that we are dealing with and have been for a while. We can only hope the Tories will pull their finger out of their arse and start doing things we want, but I'm highly doubtful that they actually will. Now, in my opinion, the government needs to name and shame every single one of these legal firms who are actually doing this and costing the taxpayer hundreds of thousands of pounds, probably per asylum seeker. Then they should bill them for the costs of each of these individual asylum seekers, and I mean the total cost from pickup to booting them out.
There is a pattern consistent throughout history of oppressed people turning on the oppressors, slaves against their owners, the peasantry against the feudal barons, colonies, Mr. Verhofstadt, against their empires. And that is why Britain is leaving. And it doesn't matter which language you use, we are going, and we are glad to be going. We're off.